What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and Scream 6 just released over the weekend, so what better time than now to do a ranking of the franchise. Now let me start by saying this is my list. If it doesn't match your list, it is okay. My list is not slam dunking on your list, so do not take it personal. It's just friendly discussion. Gotta say that first because you know how the internet does what the internet does. And let me also say, I don't think any of these movies are bad. I'm gonna say that off the rip. This is my favorite franchise under Halloween. Halloween's 1, Scream is right here at number 2. Just had to put that out there first. Anyway, let's start from the bottom. At number 6, I have Scream 4. Rewatching it this year, still the one movie of the franchise that I don't love. I do like it, but I'm not head over heels like I am the rest of them. But Scream 4, I think this one kind of took the meta stuff too far for me personally, almost to a point where it feels like it's a parody of the franchise period. The opening, having the two fake kills before their actual kill, I didn't like that. I still don't like it after rewatching it recently. It just feels a bit try-hard for me in regards to being meta. It's very on the nose with its decisions, from, like I said, the opening to the recreation of older scenes, like them throwing a stab party, in the same sense of how they did it in Scream 2. I think it was almost too self-aware, like I said, to where it was parody-like. And I also don't like the way the movie is either lit or it's color graded in post. Like, it has this weird glow about it that makes it look cheap. And I said that on my last ranking last year, but I don't understand what was the decision behind making it look that way. Maybe it was to separate the difference in time period. I don't know, but I'm not a fan of that, honestly, at all. Those aspects just have it at the bottom of the list, and I still haven't been able to get over any of them. But what I will say about this film is I like how vicious Ghostface was. This was the first time we saw Ghostface in a different light as far as his level of brutality. He's way brutal here than he has been the prior 3. Without Scream 4, we wouldn't get the brutality that we saw in 5 and 6. So I do give it his props in that regard, and I do like it, but it's at the bottom of the list for me. At number 5, I have Scream 3, and I love this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen a lot of people have this as the bottom, and I can understand why, because from what I've seen, people look at Scream 3 the way I look at Scream 4, where it's kind of a parody and it's doing a little too much as far as being self-aware. But I like it because it's the natural progression of where the first trilogy was going. Movie 1 is the event of the events of the whole franchise. Movie 2 takes that concept and makes a movie out of it. During Scream 2, we're always hearing about stab movie this, stab movie that. And then we get to Scream 3, and we're actually on set of the stab movies. And I think that's just a really interesting take. It's like it's a movie about movies. Honestly, all of the movies are like that. All of these Scream films are movies about movies, but this one takes that concept even further by putting us in the actual studio, putting us on stage with the actual movie that we're talking about. So it's kind of like meta on top of meta, but it's done subtly. Like, I think if you don't think about it like that, it'll just seem like it's just another chapter in this full story. So I really do like that. I like that it's really a parody of Hollywood. All the characters who play their counterparts, they're just like extreme versions of who the real people are. And that's pretty much how Hollywood does, If it's based on true events, it's an exaggerated version of these characters. I like how each character in the Stab movie is a prototype of what's seen in Hollywood. Like, the girl who's playing Sydney is the girl next door who's just in it for the art. And then you have Jesse McCartney's character, who is just the typical blonde valley girl, with even amping up her speech just to sound more of a white girl than usual. Like, I always laugh at that line when she's like talking to Ghostface on the phone, and she's like, what is it, a comedy gets chopped in a fish decks? Like, the way she's talking is ridiculous, yo. Like, why is she always shouting? It is hilarious to me that she is talking like that. And then you have the guy playing Officer Dewey. He's the typical Hollywood male douchebag who he just gives all that energy away, the way he's talking. You have the girl who plays Gail Weathers, who is, it's like she's a different version of Cali Girl, but it's like not the same as Jessie. Her dialogue is just so extreme, just the way she's talking, but she fits that Hollywood prototype of just being, damn, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like extra. The dramatic, okay, she is like the dramatic actor, like just the way she hops into her bodyguard's arms, it's just like, what? And even her speech too, I always crack up at when Gail punches her, and she's like, my lawyer liked that. And I forgot my man's name. Damn, I forgot his name. I don't want to disrespect him like that, but my man playing, he's a black actor, and him just literally having a disposition about the state of black actors in Hollywood. You know, LL Cool J Shakespearean in the part. Like, you know, black actors can't turn down these kind of roles. You know, we don't get them anyway. So I like the take of Hollywood that this movie presents. And I think out of all of the movies in the first trilogy, the story is giving the original trinity of Scream more to do. The weight here is equal. Gail has a lot to do, Dewey has a lot to do, and of course Sidney, but I feel like it's equal here. Whereas the first two, the heavy lifting is really mostly on Sidney as far as keeping the story going, but not the case here. A lot of people hate the Roman reveal. I didn't mind it, you know, even though it's really ridiculous that, you know, she had a secret brother that came out of nowhere, and that was a bit much. I agree, and I feel like from that point on, it kind of does downgrade for me because everyone in the third act is just useless except Sidney. But the prior movies have done that, but I mean, to have it at such a level, it just feels really goofy to have people extra goofy to leave Sidney the one and only that can defeat Roman. And just the fact that Roman, you know, shoots Sidney in the chest when we all know you gotta go for the head. I'm like, that was a pretty convenient choice. But other than that though, everything prior to that, I still love, and even the ending, it doesn't ruin the movie for me. So at number 5, I have Scream 3. At number 4, I have Scream 5. I really dig this movie. I think it was a great requel, and it just, again, it upped the level of Ghostface's brutality from 4. Like, it was the natural progression of how he would be now, and based around the reveal and the why of the films, it makes sense because they're making their own film, you know, with the brutality of everything going on. And I can definitely say the real downer about this film is Melissa's acting is not the greatest in Scream 5. It's not. She was very wooden the entire time, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal if she wasn't the lead, but the fact that she was, we got to see a lot of dry acting. But what boosts this movie up is everybody surrounding. I mean, they managed to introduce a whole set of new characters that felt real, like they had a real relationship, they were of this generation, and just the way that they flipped the concept of Scream and continuing it, you know, talking about, oh, this is a requel, and laying out the different rules, and Mindy being the new Randy because that's his niece, and they really worked that really well. I definitely like how they flipped everything and made the legacy characters present in the movie through the new cast. It wasn't like it was a bunch of random people. I think as far as this movie, Tara stole the show. You know, she is the best character in the film, and she's involved in a lot. You know, it's her and Melissa. Her and Sam are definitely the top two characters, but everything starts with Tara, right? Because that opening sequence was great. Like, up until now, you'll see in a second, I felt like that was the second best opening in the franchise. The way they flipped the original of it being a house call, I thought that was great. And I even like the inclusion of Sam being Billy Loomis's daughter. Again, they're spreading the olive branches of the original crew into the newer movies to make it make sense, and I enjoy how they did that. And the motive I really liked a lot. Like, I don't know why, but rewatching it this year, the motive really stuck out to me, and I loved it even more. Richie and Amanda being so toxic, and there's a little bit of seeing eye to eye with that. Honestly, not to say that I would fucking kill somebody because of a movie, but it's this passion with him where he's like, specifically one line when he's like, you know, you tell people about these movies and you love them so much, and people will turn to you and go, it's just a movie. And then Richie spazzes out like, what do you mean it's just a movie? They don't know that. A lot of us, these movies, we live by them. They helped us out in many situations. In that aspect, I see where they're coming from, because that's what a lot of movies do. The worst thing you could tell somebody with any of their passions is, it's just a whatever. Somebody who likes fashion, you know, it's just clothes. Somebody who likes sneakers, it's just shoes. Somebody who's a foodie, it's just food. I think that's disrespectful to people's passion. And again, like I said, the way they took it is way too far, but I think if you're able to put yourself in those shoes and find something special that really means so much to you, it can amplify the why behind them doing it, you know. So Scream 5, I love the film, and I have that at number 4. At number 3, I have Scream 6. Man, I just did 2 reviews on this thing. You can go watch that and see why I love it. But God, what a great movie. I will say that, I don't know, man, upon more watches, and if I sit with it more, it could move up to a notch. But that being said, I just love that they took the same rules and concept of Scream and moved it to a different place like New York. Putting it in an urban setting just makes everything feel different. It feels more grand because of the open space in such a metropolitan city, but it's still contained, very, very intimate and personal. The chemistry amongst the cast is just perfect. This movie to me probably has the most heart of all of the films, the most emotion of all of the films. Like, I really felt taken aback by that aspect. And when you boil it down to it, the whole movie is about family. They harp on that. It's about family, a new family, keeping your family intact, and what you'll do for family. So I really like that they injected that small extra layer of emotion to the film based on that. Ghostface is the most brutal he's ever been in this film. Holy shit. The opening, what I said in 5, this is the best opening after the first one. Literally. So smart, so clever. Man, it was so good. The way the story weaved itself from the past movie to this film and opening the door for more to come. Scream 6 is phenomenal. I love it, and it could possibly move up once I buy it and watch it more. But Scream 6 is at number 3. At number 2, we have Scream 2. I just love it, and I don't think it gets enough credit. I see Scream 2 at the bottom of a lot of lists. And the reason I love Scream 2 is because, to me, this film is what the entire franchise is built upon. Because the Stab movies were not in the first one. The Stab movies didn't start till Scream 2. So for them to write this sequel and start the trajectory of making Scream be a movie about movies is because of Scream 2. I like how they started it off of going from Sydney and her crew in high school to moving to college, and we have this film school that Randy's going to because he was been a film nerd in the first one. The movie is a piggyback kind of off Randy talking about the rules and how things work, and to double down on that and create a franchise within the franchise is fucking amazing. And not to mention, I love the opening. I love Jada Pinkett and Omar going to the theater to see Scream, and they're discussing slasher movies, and not only that, but just black people in movies and all of that too. To have that intro work so well for me. It's funny and it's over the top, but I love how that opening goes into the rest of the film. Not to mention, I'm a sucker for school campus type horror. I don't know why. That's just something that sits with me, and it's personal, and I just thoroughly enjoy. I love the reveal of it being Billy's mom and Mickey being some guy that she hired to help. The one thing about this movie is the killers were the least expecting to me. Like, watching the movie for the first time, had no idea it was going to be either one of them. It was just cool the way they camouflaged it, because you have Billy's mom acting like a journalist alongside of Gail, so they kind of had this little beef, and this whole time you're thinking Billy's mom has a problem with Gail, but actually she has a problem with all these motherfuckers, you know? Mickey, he just seemed like the cool friend that was just down, and he didn't have any psycho vibes about him at all. So when they revealed it to be him, and he takes that mask off, I had a moment of like, holy shit, like, what? Scream 2 for me is the film that built the franchise, a lot of like Halloween 2 was, where all of the installments after are based around what Halloween 2 did. Is the same way for Scream. I feel like Scream flipped the game, and that's the movie that allowed us to have all of these films now. Such a smart decision, such great writing to use that concept. So Scream 2 was at number 2. Obviously, Scream 1, still the best of the franchise. What can be said about this film? I already made a full video as to why I love Scream last year on this release day. Scream is just the slasher of slashers, man. Scream single-handedly modernized what a slasher is and what it can be. The slick writing, the different concepts, using the rules, being able to take the tropes in horror movies and highlight that and build a movie around it. Done so eloquently. Great character dynamics, great character types. The characterization is what makes this movie work so well. I mean, if you're here watching this, then you already know, like I know, that the themes and everything at play just works so well. Ghostface being the first of what a real killer would be like, you know, him being a little more goofy, not being as skilled as killers that we've seen in the past, not being as strong or fast, but that's what makes him scary. You can look at him and tell he's a normal guy, you know, he's not some supernatural, you know, skilled assassin that you're not gonna know who killed you or how they found you. This is a regular guy in a mask. I think that's what makes it scary. And then to make the choice of having 2 killers instead of 1 be behind this whole thing, it was great. I saw Billy coming because he just looks like a crazy guy, but the fact that Stu was also behind it is crazy to me, and he's probably still my favorite killer out of this whole franchise. So Scream 1 is at number 1. No surprise. If you want to know my thoughts on that film, I have a video, like I said earlier, talking about why I love Scream. I love that movie, man. So that's my list. Let me know in the comments what your list is. And again, please be respectful. I know my list isn't going to be everybody's list, but I just love these movies. And the entry of Scream 6 just made me want to talk about all of them and do my own ranking. So if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, peace. RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy.